Good morning and welcome to Norwood School's Lower School Open House for October 15th, 2022. I'm Alex Ragone, Director of Admission and Enrollment Management, and I want to welcome you to our Lower School Open House. Over the next few minutes, you're going to hear from Matthew Gould, our head of school, and Mike Risen, our head of lower school, about with overviews of our program. And then I will take you through a curriculum journey with presentations from our pre-K through fourth grade faculty. Thanks so much, and I'm going to turn it over to Matthew Gould, head of school.
At the end of the morning, you'll have a lot of information about our school. And so my goal is I'm going to start really broad, and then you'll hear from Mike Risen, who will talk a bit about the lower school, and then you'll get to hear from teachers about programs, procedures, and sort of what life is like in the classrooms from there. I've been at Norwood for 9 years. I love this place. I think it is a great place to be a child. It's a great place to be an adult and an educator as well. We're learning all the time from the children and from each other. Our founder said that it's a happy place of learning filled with art and music. And I think that exists now almost 75 years later. So as I said, I'm going to start really broad. I thought what I would do is share sort of core beliefs of the school, core values of the school, because I think that will set the context for what you're going to hear later in the morning. And so to sort of set the stage philosophically about what we're all about, in terms of our values as a school, I am hopeful will be helpful. Every school, we're so lucky in the DMV to have so many wonderful schools, but each school is a little bit different in sort of how they approach education, and I hope that comes through in our presentation this morning. So as I was taking notes yesterday for this presentation, I sort of boiled it down to what I think are our 5 core values. And of course, we probably have more than that, but these are the ones that sort of emerged for me and that I felt were important to share with you this morning. So number 1 is about character. Our school motto is how you lead your life matters. And that is something that quite honestly, every child in our school, whether it's from our pre-K 4s all the way up to our 8th graders, everybody knows that that's the motto of the school. If you asked a child just walking down the hall randomly, and I said, what is Norwood's motto? They would say, how you lead your life matters. And really it's a proxy for behavior and for service and for doing good in the world. We want smart kids at Norwood. Of course, we want smart kids at Norwood, but we also want good kids at Norwood, good in their hearts, good in their deeds, and who are going to go make a difference in the world as adults. So character is really, really important to us as we think about core values. Second, I'd say is challenge. We want children to be challenged. We want children to be challenged in their academics. We want children to be challenged outside of their academics in their extracurriculars and co-curriculars. We feel like it's important to teach children resilience, perseverance, and that it's okay to make mistakes. And so when you provide challenge, we actually believe children, of course, they learn more, but it's good for their self-esteem because we all know when we've done something that's a bit on the hard side, and we feel good about that. So, as parents, and I have 2 children in their 20s, they always loved it when I put pictures, that they painted in preschool and elementary school on the refrigerator. But when they really worked at it, and that picture got on the fridge, then they were really, really proud because they knew that they had worked hard and done something challenging. So we believe that failure is okay as long as we're providing a safe space for kids to make mistakes and be challenged. Third core value, I would say, is around diversity and inclusion. Never before has diversity been more important in schools because our children are growing up in a diverse, complex, and interconnected world. So having them go to school in a diverse, complex, and interconnected community is really, really important. We just know that creating a diverse environment at school is really a prerequisite for success later in life. We want all children, all families, all faculty to feel like when they walk through the doors of Norwood every single morning, it's home. There's a place for everyone at Norwood. And so that is an important core value for us as well. I mentioned our founder, Francis March, but another core value is around joy. And I worry that not enough schools talk about joy because the reality is that learning is fun. We all love to learn, and kids love to learn new things. You can just see their eyes brighten up and their bodies, bounce around when they're engaged in the learning process. So as I said, our founder talked about school being a happy place of learning filled with art and music. Art and music and the arts in general are really, really important to our school. Our kids have daily PE. Our kids are, engaged in the life of the mind, life of the body, life of the spirit. But that piece around joy is really important. And it's our job as educators to provide that joyful experience for the children in our care. And then core value number 5, the final core value I wanted to talk about is really our pre-K through 8 model. This is something that Norwood has, every once in a while it comes up, oh, should Norwood start a high school? Wouldn't it be great if we, had a 9 through 12? And the reality is we are intentionally and purposely and forever pre-K through 8. Because the reality is that in schools with high schools, and there's a lot of wonderful ones, so I don't want to, put down any other schools, but the reality is that resources flow up. And when high schools are part of the structure of a school, there's the reality of college placement, varsity athletics, AP classes, SAT courses, and the like. And the reality is our kids grow up in an environment in which they are number one, where all of our resources flow to the elementary and middle school aged child. And I think that's just a powerful way to grow up. Our motto is be known. Our kids are known. They walk down the hall, they're known by multiple teachers. They're known by multiple staff members and administrators. And I just think that it builds confidence and makes kids feel ownership around their community. I know this is a lower school open house, and the pre-K through 8 model is magical, pre-K through 8. But I also think there's a special magic in the middle school, because if you think about, sort of being age 12, age 13, it's an awkward time of human development. Your body is changing, your brain is changing, your identity is forming. No one wants to be 13 again. I know that. But in a pre-K through 8 environment, those kids are the top. Those kids are the leaders. And what a gift to give kids an opportunity to lead at an awkward and insecure time of human development. It also allows kids to role model down to younger kids. Just yesterday, our 7th graders buddied up with our 3rd graders, and it's magic to watch the older preteens caretake the younger students. And I just think that that's, again, a powerful model for us and something that we're very, very committed to. So I'm going to stop there. I hope everyone really enjoys the morning. I know our teachers and staff are really looking forward to sharing their programs with you. They're very, very proud of what they do. And I guess the last thing I'll say is come visit. The reality is that you're going to get a lot of information this morning. I hope it's helpful, but the magic of the place is when you see the place. The magic of the place is seeing our teachers interacting with the students in the classrooms on a daily basis. So, hopefully this session piques your interest enough to schedule a tour with Alex, Carson, and Abby, and we'll look forward to seeing you on campus. So with that, I think I'm turning it over to Mike.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Norwood Virtual Open House as well. My name is Mike Reisen. I'm the lower school head here at Norwood. I'm in my 10th year here. I previously was in another administrative role, and it's my 5th year as the lower school head. I am incredibly biased. I'm a Norwood parent. I have 2 children, one in 5th grade, one in that peak 13-year-old awkward phase Matthew just referred to. As a graduating 8th grader, both my kids have been here since kindergarten. And I was saying to Matthew just yesterday that, while certainly our family has raised her children with certain values, they are Norwood kids through and through. And I think what I mean by that is that they're 2 very, very different children, and have their strengths, in their areas of growth, but have been known by Norwood as 2 very different individuals. While they've experienced the same curriculum, the same teachers sometimes, Norwood has fostered in them both their strengths and interests and exposed them to new ideas and new challenges, right, that are different for each kid. And so as a parent, like I said, I'm extremely biased, but what a great gift to see your children be challenged at their just right levels. And so if Matthew was at 40,000 feet, I think that I'll take you down to about 20,000 feet and talk a little bit about how some of the big picture items and pieces of our core values come to life in the lower school. I think one of our, and I'll speak about that in 2 ways. Our approach to education is to to really know kids deeply. It's more than a tagline, it's our DNA. And so our focus day in, day out in our big and small decisions is to deliver a just right approach for students for where they are, when they are, and what they need. So for us, it's important. Job one is to know kids deeply. We want to know their interests. We want to know their learning preferences. We want to know how those interests change. We want to know their identities, their abilities, their strengths, as a really holistic picture of who that person is. We want to get to know families. When we're in close partnership with parents, there's a lot of opportunity for how far a kid can grow and low. The second part is that we know our curriculum deeply. There's definitely a set curriculum at Norwood. We know what our standards are, what our content is. I hope that, over the next hour, you'll hear a lot of those pieces in projects and assignments and instructional modalities that we use. And so we definitely have a picture of what best practice is. And, there's a high degree of rigor to those standards and processes. Norwood is a high quality education period. But, I've taught at a lot of different independent schools, and you can have a very challenging curriculum, but if we don't figure out how to marry that curriculum to the individual, then it's not as powerful as it can be. And so Norwood is a hard place to work in a lot of ways. And I think that one of the reasons for that as a teacher is that we spend a lot of our time getting to that center of knowing kids and knowing the curriculum so that we are delivering that just right challenge that's stressful, because some amount of stress helps performance, but not over stressful to where it leads to shutdown. We want to figure out just what exactly is the right book that's going to be interesting, but a challenge enough to really push through, to persevere, to become a better reader of detail. For a third grader, what is the story that's going to really hook them in the small group read to learn about themes so that they can really start to think about books not in a concrete way, but to think about the abstraction of it. And that's hard to do. A lot of us don't remember that when we first learned it, but it's tough. And so how do we know kids deeply enough as individuals to know how to deliver that challenge? And that's quite frankly hard work. But that's one of the things that makes this place challenging. And frankly, if that's what we're spending doing our hard work, I think that's pretty great. And the byproduct of that is that approach that's going to deliver day in, day out for a kid, that's going to challenge them in exactly the right way. That's, in our language, the path to success for a child and for a class. The second thing that I want to talk about is, kids learning to know themselves and therefore know each other and build community. One thing that I don't think I ever took it for granted, to be honest, but one of the things that was difficult about pandemic, but has been wonderfully refreshing over the past year and a half, and particularly this year, is the joy in coming together as full community. And there are pieces to that. There's simply being in each other's presence, doing certain things that are parts of the rhythms of a school year. But then there's the excellent work that teachers do of helping kids know themselves and grow through their early childhood. It's part of that magic of PK8 Matthew was referring to. So, we know that each child is going to be different, and we want each child to explore their own stories, read stories that are windows and mirrors into their world. And so they can know themselves deeply. That's the foundation, right, for lifelong learning. Who am I? What are my interests? What are my strengths that I can leverage in order to address my challenges and grow through them? And, once we do that in some of our early grades, we're really able to begin to build quite strong community. Because if I have a big understanding of who I am at a certain point, then man, I can figure out how to articulate that and express it. And I can begin to connect with you, and I can hear you and hear you, who you are and what your interests are. And we really get down into what strong community is. It's that we understand that each of us is an individual, and that the differences between us are what make us stronger. Right? That we can understand that the way you go about thinking about a math problem and the way I think about it is different, but if I can listen to you and hear your process, that's a real opportunity for me to grow. And so the very fact that each of us learns and thinks a little bit differently and has a different set of identities and experiences is the very fabric that makes us stronger. And so that's not something that happens magically or overnight or accidentally, but it's an intentional part of how we grow community. And I hope you hear some of those themes as we go through this morning together. Like I said, I am incredibly biased. Please do come by Norwood, as Matthew said. I think it's a really quite special and unique place to experience. Sometimes it's hard to put words around because it's sort of the DNA of the place and it's so authentic to where we are. But it is a place where, from my own experience as a parent, but definitely my experience as an administrator, that the good hard work of knowing children is something that this faculty is committed to doing, and just seeing the payoff for that. I love to see alums come back when they're in high school, and sometimes they're in college and they'll come back. And it's just amazing to see the people that they become. I've taught in high schools, and you get that quick payoff, when you knew them as little kids and you see them in high school because they're always on campus, but it's seeing them have the distance from the place and how they've internalized those character values of Norwood and who they become is often just quite inspiring. So I encourage you guys to come, schedule a time with Alex and the team, and enjoy the place for what it is. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mike and Matthew. And we are going to get into our presentations now, and we'll have presentations from our pre-K through fourth grade faculty. And then at about 11:40, we're going to jump into breakout rooms for you to be able to ask questions of all of the fantastic faculty you're going to hear from right now. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to our pre-K kindergarten team, Shoshana Eisenberg and Diana Hashem.
Hi, my name is Diana Hashem, and
I'm Shoshana Eisenberg.
And I've been in early childhood education for about 18 years. And what really drew me to Norwood is the fact that it starts at pre-K and continues through 8th grade. Just as Mike and Matthew explained, how wonderful it is to see the progression of the children starting from pre-K into 8th grade. And one thing that really struck me in Matthew's words to you was joy. And it is joyful to be in the pre-K classroom, because if you enter the pre-K classroom, it's all joy written all over the wall. So we consider our pre-K program a little junior kindergarten. We are aware that most of the children do come from various daycares and preschools. And so we assess the children and meet each of them at their developmental stage. So here you can see in the pictures how they're working independently and working on different concepts. And the program is very child-focused, where we nurture and honor everyone for their contribution in the classroom. And besides introducing math through our daily calendar, as you can see on the slide, and the 100-day counter and language, the children do get exposed to other concepts that really lay the foundations to be responsible, independent, caring, curious, adventurous members here at Norwood. And we will answer any questions you have later on, but I'm going to move on to Mrs. Eisenberg.
So I've been teaching, this is my 7th year teaching, and I'm just going to share a few of the projects that we do in pre-K. We're just going to focus on highlighting 2 of them. One is our class tree, which you can see in the photo, and our class library project. So for the class tree, when the children arrive in September, they start out with a white wall, and they get to make the trunk and the branches. And over the course of the year, they brainstorm how the tree should evolve to match what they're seeing in the seasons outside of our classroom. This past week, the children noticed that the leaves had changed. So you could see in the photo that the leaves were green, but over the course of this week, they've been going outside and collecting leaves. And we've been doing a project where they trace the veins of the leaves and they shellac them. And soon our tree will be transformed into a fall tree with all other types of things that they're observing and finding outside in different creations. One year, we had a child who came in and said, I see toilet paper in my tree outside around Halloween, and she wanted to add it to our tree, and we let her do it. And it may seem sort of silly, but it was very powerful to her to see her idea take shape on our classroom wall. And we love that the children really do feel like they have ownership over their project. This is their tree. And if they think of something, it is in their power to add it. Another one of our year-long projects, as I was saying, was our library project. And for this project, we create a series of class books. And each of these books ultimately is added to our class library. They each get a colored copy to bring home and share with their family. And at the end of the year, our bookshelves are filled with their creations. These books are collaborative and involve a combination of simple predictive text and illustrations so that they can really read them independently. And each child is responsible for contributing their own page. And we love seeing the pride that they take in their finished project. These books are always favorites in our cozy corner. The kids, we can reliably find them during quiet time reading these books with their buddies. In all of these images, you can see the children using a variety of tools. We're very intentional in planning out each project. So it involves different materials, different methods to engage their curiosity, their senses, and always to strengthen their fine motor skills. And we are going to be available later as everyone to answer any questions and share more about our program.
All right, thanks so much. So we're going to now shift to kindergarten with Wendy Wilson.
Hi, I'm Wendy Wilson. Welcome to kindergarten. An important part of our day takes place during our morning meeting time. Using the responsive classroom approach, the kindergartners are given an opportunity to talk and be heard. We organize our day and we have class discussions about big and small moments. We learn a lot about each other during this time, such as a share out about a time we once felt lucky, a particular personal experience, which included a time when a student did not encounter a single red light during his morning commute to school. So he had a lot of arrival choice time, a big lucky win for him, right? We move into our number corner, which is a rich part of our Bridges math curriculum. You might be able to see it behind me. The students play an active role in each part, such as the calendar or counting days of school, making combinations of 5 and 10, composing and decomposing numbers. Each piece of number corner intentionally enhances number sense with detailed visuals and meaningful conversations. We do games and written work also are completed weekly. Aligning with our reading workshop, pictures 3 and 4 show project work. Created with a purpose or a challenge in mind, kindergartners were tasked with creating a table with 3 different size bowls for the bears or a bed for Princess and the Pea. They were required to create a tool to use for measuring the product. You can see the math skills developing here. The bed or the table need to be within certain dimensions. They read and heard many diverse versions of the 2 different fairy tales. They completed written work and then presented their product with pride to their parents and their 8th grade buddies. Our 8th grade buddies even transported the products to our presentation site. A lovely community experience for all. And I think the 8th graders were just as proud to see their little ones present as the kindergarten parents were. Party House for the Birds. That was generated out of a inquiry-based project. It's a special place on campus, you can see in picture 6, named by a group of joyful kindergartners named the Party House. Needed to be used for birds who frequently visited Norwood's campus. We did research, field work, interviewed a resident bird expert, and then the decorating began. The fine motor development was enhanced here, and the space was ready for use. The birds enjoyed the party house while we were away. Perler beads appeared in our lower school estimation jar. So that inspired us to count the perler beads in our very own classroom stash. We had to know exactly how many perler beads we had in our bin. So we estimated and counted using familiar strategies, and 3,045 beads later, we felt success after a meaningful challenge created by ourselves, the kindergartners. We encourage the use of resources in kindergarten, and at times they are inspired to make their very own resource, like picture 2, to use at home when writing stories, making grocery lists, or creating detailed treasury maps, just to name a few, with labels. We love to see that self-motivating learning extending to home. And last but not least, we created our very own version of Goldilocks. We generated a script with a beginning, middle, and end, another skill aligning with reading workshop and writing workshop. We used a story map made in collaboration, and we made big decisions as authors do. Of course, our script took a few twists and turns. And yes, those are chairs that were made during Creation Station, which I'll tell you about later, for Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. We are certainly very resourceful in kindergarten, and I look forward to chatting with you a little bit more later.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Now to Dana Egan for first grade.
Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm Dana Egan. This is my 6th year here at Norwood. All 6 years have been in first grade. So it's definitely a grade that I love. As first grade really is a huge year of growth academically, socially, and emotionally. Students really do come in at all different levels, and it's our job to meet each student where they're at. So some of the main topics that we go over in first grade, a big question we always get is on the reading. And so first grade is a huge year for learning how to read. And our job is really to develop that love of reading. We want students happy in books. We want students learning how to read. And so two big projects that we do, one is our Buddy Bookworm project. And this is definitely a motivational project. Students are encouraged to read at home, and then they send in how many pages that they're reading at home. And they earn segments for each 25 pages that they read. And we actually post it around the classroom. And the goal is to get segments attached to Buddy Bookworm, a bookworm on the wall, to get segments to go all around the classroom. And so students get really into it. They see Buddy grow the whole time. And it definitely encourages them to bring that reading home with them. Another big project that we do is our Three Little Pigs unit. And so this is really a connection of multiple subject areas, both reading and writing in homeroom, and then also library and art outside of the homeroom. So students are exposed to all different varieties of the Three Little Pigs. Everything from the Three Little Aliens, the Three Little Sharks, and thinking about how those characters are developed and how the setting matches those different characters. Students are then in homeroom able to come up with their own characters and setting and create their own story of the Three Little Pigs. And even the most reluctant writers really get into this project. It's a time that they can be creative and really design the story how they want it. And then in art class, students are able to take that story that they've written and design one of their houses. So again, that connection across both areas in homeroom, outside of homeroom really is special for them as they see their project come to life. In some of these pictures, you see some of our math manipulatives out. And as Wendy mentioned, we also have our number corner as part of our Bridges curriculum. So in first grade, students really grow their understanding of different strategies and tools. And we work to build that deeper understanding so that students can learn which strategies work best for them, which tools work best for them, so that they can solve problems most efficiently. And lastly, two other pictures on this slide highlight our social studies unit. So we have a focus on Washington, D.C., being super close to the city. In the fall, we actually get to take a trip down to Washington, D.C. So we learn about some of the different monuments and memorials that are down on the National Mall. And then we actually get to go down there and see them. So students are able to sketch and learn about the different monuments and memorials in person. And then in the spring, students are able to pick one of those monuments or memorials that we visited and design them however they want. We ask students to bring in recycled materials, and they really get to plan out. So you can see in the slides, we had a Lincoln Memorial and a Washington Monument. He was very excited about the size of the boxes that he could find to really show that height of the Washington Monument. And then students, as everyone has mentioned, really are known here at Norwood. We do a lot through literature and class discussions throughout the whole year, where students can learn both about themselves and about one another. Students can explore how they see themselves on the outside, which is in that first picture on this slide. We read a book highlighting just different skin tones and how everyone's skin tone is a little bit different. And then students could explore how they wanted to show themselves to the class, how they wanted to demonstrate their own skin tone and compare it to something in the world. Students are also able to learn about themselves on the inside. So we read a book that's titled Jack's Talent, and it's about a boy who is unsure. He doesn't believe that he has any talents. In the end, realizes what his talent is. And then students are able to do a project where they share their talent out with the class, what they want their classmates to know. And in this sharing and able to learn about one another, it really creates that inclusive and safe environment. And so from there, students are comfortable taking those risks and making mistakes. And that's really what we want, students to know one another and feel that sense of comfort so that we can learn and grow. And lastly, with Norwood, being able to have a co-teacher in first grade is something that is really special. Me and my co-teacher are constantly assessing students, figuring out where students are at, really looking at each lesson and thinking about how can we best use two teachers in the classroom to meet students where they're at, which is something that's very unique and special.
Thanks so much, Dana. All right, we're gonna head over to second grade with Cathy McCoy and possibly Esther Stanton.
Yes. Hello. Welcome to second grade. You have Cathy McCoy and Esther representing two of our four dynamic second grade team. As you see us pictured here, we work together. As Dana mentioned, co-teaching is the way to go. We absolutely love it. It gives us more opportunity to focus in on where each and every student is and where we're trying to take them. I have been with Norwood for affiliated for over 14 years. And I have three children that have graduated from Norwood. So that in itself tells you how much I believe in the school, their curriculum, and just the social atmosphere that's there. I'll talk a little bit about our core subjects that we cover in second grade, and Esther will talk about how we build community in second grade through social studies and other opportunities. So first of all, we definitely attack reading. Students are coming in, as you've heard many people say, at different levels, and we just really try to meet them where they are through our reading workshop. And we've also included a word study program through Orton Gillingham program, which is a multi-sensory program, which really gets kids moving and excited about how to attack phonics and how to build their phonics. Through reading, we have many lessons. We strategize different reading attacks on how to really approach and increase their reading, not just fluency, but also comprehension. We also have a dynamic writing workshop program that we do, and we get a chance to really study all different types of writing processes. Not only are they learning how to do the writing process through editing and revising and publishing and creating rough drafts and several rough drafts, but they also get to do it through creating small moments, which is where we are right now, just writing about and zoning in on one particular small moment. We eventually will get to writing about nonfiction, also, which something we get really excited about later on in the year is going through a research project and understanding how to write a research paper. I know it's a little scary for second grade, but we do it and break it down so it's easy for them to attack. We also kind of look into opinion writing and also in the year with trying to do poetry as well. So that's a little bit about reading and writing and what we do in second grade, and we keep it joyful as well. Esther, you can take it away for social studies and math.
Great. I am here. Thank you. I'll talk a little bit about math, which was actually, there's some pictures on the other slide, Alex, but just pictures of our number corner. We do build upon what first grade kindergarten do in Bridges, and we take the knowledge that they've already grown and we really focus on making sure that they're fluent in their facts to 20. That's a big part of our first unit. We also make sure that we're building the strong number sense with visual models. So kids learn how to use multiple strategies to solve their problems. They could use number lines, they could use 10 frames, they could use number racks, they could use a bead string, all these different strategies that we teach them to solve their math problems. And eventually we will move into adding and subtracting 3-digit numbers. And we don't really focus on multiplication, but we talk about multiplication in the fact of adding groups of numbers together, the same groups of numbers together. So like 2 groups of 3 would be 2 times 3 and stuff like that. I also am talking about our social studies curriculum. Our social studies curriculum, we start off the year with embracing our differences and what makes us unique. So we talk about the colors of us, which compares our skin tones to various items. And that's what do you know about skin? We talk about what do you already know about skin, and we build upon their previous knowledge of that. And the word community is very central to our teaching. We learn how people work together and how our environment affects the way we live. So after we talk about our skin and what makes us unique, we focus on geography. We're looking at and creating maps and expanding our knowledge with our local community. So our first unit is the Chesapeake Bay. So we actually go out on the bay and we take a nice little field trip as we learn about watersheds and just the animals and in our region. Then we move a little outwards, we zoom out a little more, and we move into studying about Brazil. And then we end our year studying Japan. So through these units, we talk about our commonalities and our connections among people, cultures, and schools.
Thank you so much, Esther and Cathy. All right, off to third grade with Terri Woodard.
Hi, I'm Terri Woodard, one of the 4 third grade teachers here at Norwood. And it's nice to have the opportunity to share with you today. This is my 28th year at Norwood, and my own 2 children went K through 8 through Norwood and had great experiences here. And I've taught in the 2nd and 3rd grade during my time here. 3rd grade is a wonderful year of significant growth. Students are making the leap from our early childhood program, and they're ready for new responsibilities and independence. It's a year of strong academic and social emotional development. And as teachers, our role is to provide the structures and the support for this incredible year. 3rd graders are ready for stronger abstract thinking. Students are capable of increased analysis and reflection across all subject areas. Continuing all the work they've done in pre-K through 2, reading is an integral part of every day. You can see some of that here reflected in the pictures on the slides. We build a community of readers through our Readers Workshop with independent reading, book clubs, and read-alouds that allow for in-depth discussions. Students are making connections to books all through the day, each child reading books at their just right level and moving forward. Our classrooms truly reflect a joy and a love of reading. The books we work with through our read-alouds have increasingly complex plots and character development. We use these as a foundation for looking at deeper meaning, both in discussion and in written reflection. Here's an example from a student discussion on the message of a book. Quote unquote, "People are complicated. You need to really get to know them." That is the meaning of reading for all of us, and to hear that from young children is wonderful. We work to have our books reflect the diversity of our community and our world so that we're building our understanding not only of ourselves, but of others. Our Writers Workshop is tied closely with our reading program, connecting our work in writing with the author's craft we are noting in reading. We follow the writing process and write in a variety of genres, from personal narrative to persuasive writing, research, and poetry. Our work through each step of the process is supported with graphic organizers, teacher conferencing, and peer sharing to really increase the enjoyment of reading and growth for each individual student. Math in 3rd grade opens up whole new opportunities. Our work with multiplication, division, fractions, and geometry allows for higher understanding of math as a system of patterns and provides increased opportunities for advanced problem solving. We differentiate through small group instruction and enrichment work. And through it all, we build excitement for math. And on the previous slide, you could see some group work students were doing really hands-on math to incorporate all of the concepts that we are talking about there. Included In social studies, we began with looking at our identities and our work together as unique individuals forming our classroom communities. We expand to the community of our world through geography and cultures with a focus on Indigenous people of the Americas. Social studies topics are woven through all of our subjects, for example, through research and reading on our environment and cultures, and through persuasive writing on topics about our world. Included in everything we do is our focus on the social and emotional health of our students. We build community in a myriad of ways, some of which you can see in the slides here. We use responsive classroom techniques, such as the morning meeting, to share thoughts and feelings. We have daily recess outdoors in the morning and afternoon, and we have indoor breaks with free creativity, much of which you can see here. We celebrate members of our broader school community through notes and gratitude. We work in the garden together and connect with our buddies in both pre-K and 7th grade. We encourage student-initiated projects, some of which you can see here in the pictures. Students can lead whole group art projects. We had a student who had a publishing company, Al Books, who encouraged others to write books, publish, and share them along with our curriculum of writing workshop. And all of these things are part of the fabric of our community. Central to life in our third grade classrooms is genuine care, concern, and bonding with each of our students. It is through this care for the emotional lives of children that we provide the nurturing and supportive environment for students to thrive in meeting their new academic challenges, making third grade at Norwood a wonderful place to grow. I look forward to talking with you in the small group for any questions you may have, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Terri. Turning it over to Virginia Murphy and Thenthia Taterway.
Oh, I did the classic thing of not muting myself. So sorry, I'll start again. I'm Virginia Murphy. I've been at Norwood for 12 years, 5 years. This is my 5th year in 4th grade. And I'm looking really forward to telling you about 4th grade. I'm going to have Thenthia introduce herself before we begin. Okay, I'm not sure where Thenthia is, so I'll start. 4th grade is a wonderful year of growth for students. We are preparing them to go off to middle school in 5th grade. They're ready for more deep thinking, more independence in their work. We take all the great work that's done in 3rd grade and just continue to add complexity and independence. We use the reading and writing workshop, the units of study, as is used in the lower grades. And in reading, kids come alive when they get the choice in what books they get to read. So that is a cornerstone of our work of having book cafes where kids are choosing just right books that they can read and fall in love with and have book club discussions. We also do read alouds, talk about what's happening in the book and getting kids to think about characters and inferring more. The genres that we read in 4th grade include realistic fiction, nonfiction, historical fiction, and biographies of social activists. In writing, once again, giving students choice in their topic of writing really inspires them to make it their very own. So while we have certain genres of writing that we do, the topics that kids choose are theirs. So we start out with narrative writing at the beginning of the year, doing a true story, a realistic fiction story, and then at the end of the year, if we have time, they do a fantasy fiction, which is always a great hit. We also do opinion writing. When we finish our narrative writing of the realistic fiction, they'll be doing their first essay. And this is the first time that they write a 5-paragraph essay where there is a thesis and then support for that with evidence. They also do their first literary essay in 4th grade. And we center this around picture books because that is more doable at fourth grade, but it sets them up really well to move into middle school to do more complex literary essays. We also do information writing. We start out with doing one on natural disasters and extreme weather, which is always a big hit because kids love to learn about that. And they create a poster that shows everything that they've learned. And then at the end of the year, we do an integrated reading, writing, and social studies in our study of ancient China. And students are at that point are writing an information book about one of the topics that they studied. And we also add poetry throughout the year, doing at least one poem a year. A month. And then we have spelling and grammar, which there's a lesson each week on spelling and grammar. And then we reinforce those lessons through our writing. We also use the Bridges curriculum and do the same types of activities that you've heard before, where kids are learning topics through the number corner and then through playing games. The three main areas of the primary focus in fourth grade math are multi-digit multiplication and understanding division. And then we take they've learned about fractions in the third grade, and we build on exploring equivalent fractions and adding and subtracting fractions. And then also we delve deeply into geometry with learning to classify geometric shapes by their attributes. Social studies is very big in fourth grade. We study the ancient civilizations. So we start with archaeology, and you'll see a picture of the Big Dig, which is a highlight of the fourth grade year, where we have buried artifacts in a pit behind the school. And then the kids spend the morning digging up those artifacts and then trying to analyze them, sketch them, and actually go through the work that archaeologists do. We also study early humans, and we go to the Museum of Natural History that has an amazing exhibit on the origins of early humans. And then we get into our study of ancient civilizations that include Mesopotamia, and we do a virtual workshop with Penn Museum, and we also do a field trip to Philadelphia to see the Penn Museum exhibit there in Mesopotamia. We study Nubia and Egypt with another virtual workshop with Penn Museum, and we also go to the Walters Museum, and we create dioramas to depict a journey down the Nile River. We study the Indus River Valley, and then, as I mentioned earlier, we study ancient China, and for that we go to the Freer-Sackler Museum. And for each of the civilizations that we study, students do hands-on activities of making clay artifacts, so they understand what you can learn from that civilization based on what was made. And so I'm seeing, is Thenthia on or not?
I am on. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm having flashbacks from a couple years. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I truly enjoyed teaching fourth grade. As you can see from our second slide, fourth graders are the leaders of lower school, and we take that very serious. They start us off at chapel by ringing the bell to get everybody down to chapel. They raise the flag in the morning and take it down in the afternoon. They set up for chapel. The very first day of school, Matthew has a chat with them about being the leaders of the lower school, and they take that very serious, how they walk in the hall and how they work with their buddies, and they also have kindergarten buddies and eighth grade buddies. Take their leadership in the lower school very serious. So we start off the year with our identity projects that you can see in our slides. We have a picture of the photos of the kids that they did of themselves. We do activities. We explore their identities with the self-portraits. We do identity stars, poems based on the I am everything good. We also do things reflecting our names and what does that mean. We think about the foods that we eat and our importance in our heritage. and how important our families is and how the families are structured. Our classrooms also reflect our students and the Norwood values and our mission and what we see in our classrooms and on our walls and our bulletin boards and the books that we read in 4th grade. Knowing our students allow us to use our best, know the best of each student. We understand where our students are in their academic growth and their interests also. We challenge them with ways that can help them grow. One of the big highlights we have in 4th grade, if Alex can go back to the first slide, is our trip down to the Lincoln Memorial, where the students in 4th grade recite the I Have a Dream speech. This is a really big highlight in 4th grade, them learning the I Have a Dream speech. How do we challenge our students in 4th grade? We strive to help our students grow as deep thinkers through using thinking routines and hands-on activities. We support our students' creativity by giving them opportunities to express themselves with watercolors that go along with their poetry, with the artifacts that Virginia talked about. That's a fun activity because we do it with each one of our ancient civilizations that we study. We provide enrichment activities to stretch students that are ready for extra challenges. That's in math and writing, having the opportunity to not write just one story, but to write more than one story in one of the writings that we're learning about. We do Math Olympia in our class to stretch those that are finished with their math and need a little bit more in our classrooms. I'm going to take it back to Virginia if you want to add anything else that we talked about in our classroom. But what's important to us in 4th grade is that our classroom reflect the students that we teach. If you can see the slide of the books that we have there that are reflecting each and every one of our kids in our classroom. And the picture with the flag is the 4th grade students putting up their flags. They have opportunity to present in lower school. We'll be kicking off the kindness challenge in 2 weeks, where the 4th grade will have the opportunity to do a chapels discussing kindness throughout the year. They'll have the opportunity. We also cover social activists, and you can see in one of our pictures where students have the opportunity to study and learn about social activists and present to the lower school. That's it.
And I would I would add that, other individual questions will be meeting with you in the breakout rooms, but we really in 4th grade work hard together to reflect back on what Matthew said about joy in our classroom. It's challenging students and making them feel known and safe, and then just having joy through games, through dance parties that we do, through joint activities between all 4 classes. So so that's it. So
thanks so much, Virginia and Thenthia, for that capstone to 4th grade, to lower school here in 4th grade. We're going to turn over to our subject teachers and Chris Ward with lower school science.
Good morning. My name's Chris Ward. I have been at Norwood for 7 years, and I'm also a Norwood alumni parent. So I have experience in both sides of it and really, really think Norwood's a great place to be a kid and to be an adult. So in lower school science, our goal is for students to think of themselves as scientists, full of wonder and curiosity about the world. We want them to notice the science that's around them, and also to learn that science is not only knowledge that we can learn, but it's a tool that can help them quite literally change the world. The primary goal of formal science instruction at Norwood is to help students work towards science literacy, the desire and ability to pursue lifelong learning in science. This goal is important to help students meet civic obligations in an informed and intelligent way, and also to help them lead lives that are enriched and joyous. To work towards this goal of science literacy, an emphasis is placed on knowledge of fundamental concepts and themes, skills, and attitudes of science. Because of our hands-on, minds-on approach to science at Norwood, the children's natural curiosity about the world around them is cherished and enhanced. Within our classrooms, children are known. In lower school, we have 3 science teachers, so we see children several times over the arc of their lower school experience. And as they progress from pre-K to 4th grade, we're lucky to see their arc of growth and development. They work collaboratively on labs and projects with fellow classmates and are often asked to communicate their work to their peers. Students begin to keep science notebooks in 2nd grade, and this continues throughout their years at Norwood. This is another science habit that we really think is important. These notebooks are used to help them practice science skills such as written and drawn observations, data analysis, conclusions, note-taking, and scientific communication. And then I've got some peeks into our program for you. So if you can't tell, because of the mask, joy is definitely present in science and pre-K. Some of our highlights are creative problem solving that we do with children, giving them different engineering challenges and asking them to come up with ways to solve problems. This is a picture of one of our students as we are doing a dinosaur dig, which is kind of our capstone project for our dinosaur unit. In kindergarten, again, joy with bubble blowing challenges. Bubble blowing challenges teach children a lot of things about measurement and perseverance through challenge, because bubble blowing can be difficult. And when we ask students to make different bubbles, it can be challenging, but they persevere and they have such a blast doing it. In 1st grade, one of our fun projects is, as the capstone of our coding unit, we asked children to come up with some problems that they have at home or some things that they would like to have help with. And they make a list of those. And you can probably see there's like my robot. Number 1, scare my sister. I love that one. So we asked them to then try to build a robot that will be able to do that job. And so we use lots of found materials and recycled materials to do that. In 2nd grade, one of our favorite things is that we do an ecology unit, and Norwood's campus is fantastic. So I hope you get a chance to visit it, but it has multiple habitats. We can visit a wetland, we can visit a woodland, and we can learn so much just by going outside and sitting quietly and observing. So we take full advantage of that. The pictures here show light and color, some shadow puppets that we make during our light and color unit. In 3rd grade, one of our favorite projects is, as part of our force and motion unit, we build roller coasters for marbles. And this picture is showing students have built a volcano. So after we study geology and they learn about different kinds of volcanoes and they research some major volcanic eruptions, they build a volcano and then they choose the correct kind of lava to erupt out of it. In 4th grade, we do an owl pellet dissection, and that's what you're seeing here on the left as part of our human body unit. And also in the spring, they build weather instruments that actually collect weather data. So it's a fantastic program. If you have additional questions or you would like to learn more, please come visit me during our Q&A session. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Chris. Now we're heading over to lower school Spanish with Emily Salgueiro and Laura Cotter.
Hi, buenos dias. My name is Emily Salgueiro. I am the Spanish teacher of pre-K through 2nd grade. And the main topics in pre-K, kinder, 1st, and 2nd grade relate to getting students acquainted with Spanish, to become comfortable listening to Spanish through songs, read-alouds, and repetitive statements can aid in a child's speaking abilities. Our thematic units involve counting, color identification, greetings, calendar details, and stating one's name. As a child grows older, the depth and challenges of activities and content become more concentrated around listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Children are known in my classroom with the help of several factors. Having small group sizes aids in getting to know children, their abilities, strengths, challenges, areas for growth and success. Starting our class with a circle time gives students a chance to participate and share something relating to our thematic units, such as stating the date, weather, or counting, which over time helps build their self-confidence in speaking and interpersonal skills. With a lesson comes time built in for independent work, where students can showcase and represent their understanding or feel at ease modifying something to make it personal to themselves. Challenging academics and high expectations for student work come alive through everyday activities. The following photos show examples of student work which challenges them in their language acquisition, analytical, and fine motor abilities. Can we move back one, please? In pre-K, students counted to 10 and made a bracelet with pony beads and a pipe cleaner. In kindergarten, students are learning about colors. Here, they made a representation of a blue horse based on the story, The Artist Who Painted a Blue Horse. In first grade, students studied the months of the year and sang a related song. In second grade, students studied the 4 seasons, strengthened their phonemic abilities through various activities, such as this one. Now I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Laura Cotter.
Buenos días. My name is Laura Cotter and I teach 3rd and 4th grade Spanish. We use diverse ways to teach languages at Norwood that include a proven language acquisition process for each grade level based on thematic units. And we also learn Spanish using various activities such as listening to songs, watching videos, making crafts, reading books, and using computer programs. In the classroom, we listen to and consider the students' ideas. Many students also talk about their experiences with a second language, experiences traveling in a Spanish-speaking country, or experiencing languages in their own communities. This is an important part of our class flow, since this connects students to a deeper appreciation of their contributions. As our foundation, we continually practice the 4 skills to increase language acquisition according to ACFL. That is the American Council on the Teaching of the Foreign Language. These skills include a well-balanced focus on reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We use imaginative stories to engage students, thereby enhance their language learning. Colorful stories and activities make learning come alive. Students in 4th grade and 3rd grade start working on constructing complex sentences for their grade level. Some of our topics include telling the time in Spanish-speaking countries, different types of clothes people wear around the world, and the values, interests, and perspectives of different world communities. Here are some examples of students' work making live, as I mentioned before. For 3rd grade, those are the clocks that students made to practice telling the time, and some sentences and work that they do in the thematic unit schools around the world. And then for 4th grade is the next one, then those are examples for thematic unit, the planet. So we firmly believe that we have developed language learning systems that helps children at any level acquire the language and also set them up to continue with learning language in the future. Gracias.
Thanks so much, Laura and Emily. Now we are off to lower school art with Boulandi and Sam Pinkerton.
Good morning. Can you all see me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Hi, my name is Boulandi. Excuse me. I am representing the lower school art department. My colleague, Sam Pinkerton, is not available today, but we are a fun force at this school. This is a class that many students enjoy. You know, it's so anyways, my name is Boulandi again. I'm originally from Chad. I grew up in the United States. Sam Pinkerton is originally from Maryland. He has roots in Oklahoma and Vermont. I've been teaching for 17 years, worked here for 2 years, and used to work here 9 years ago as a substitute coordinator and in the after school aftercare program. Sam, this is his 5th year of teaching, and this is his 2nd year at Norwood School. So yeah, basically about the art program here, we try to create an art space that promotes culture, inclusion, fun, creativity, inspiration. We want to keep the flame alive, so to speak, that flame, that creative flame that we all start off with as children. And then, throughout life, sometimes events or people can damage that flame or blow it away. So we want to keep that flame going and augment it. And we do this through various projects, drawing or materials and projects or disciplines of art. And that's through drawing, painting, collage, sculpture, photography, clay is a big thing here. Weaving, we have a weaving unit too. It's a very, very big thing here. We also include art history. So we try to sometimes approach the class or the topics with background history on certain artists. Sometimes we'll dress up as the artists and try to mimic their personality and explain, where we got our inspiration and why we did why that artist did that art, that type of art. So in from K or pre-K to 4th grade, pretty much it goes in this trajectory where we work with fine motor skills. That's the essential thing in pre-kindergarten and kindergarten. We want them to be able to manipulate tools using their fingers. We want them to hold the materials properly and be able to use these skill sets so that to translate into their classroom. As we go into the 1st and 2nd grade, this is where we build on skills. We can now introduce more challenging activities, get them to start thinking differently, creatively. And then we move on to 3rd and 4th grade, where we start to work with more advanced concepts, sometimes being abstract and sometimes being literal. We meet with pre-K and kindergarten once a week for 40 minutes. And 1st through 4th grade, we see twice a week for 40 minutes. Class sizes range usually from 8 to 14, which is great. We get to know the students very well. We have fun. We're very silly in our approach. Most of the children know that, and that's why they feel comfortable when they come to our class. And, we just want to know, we get to know each child. We know their interests, we know their background. Identity is a big thing at Norwood. So we always start off the year with the identity project, which is where we analyze and compare our complexion and our features, and we try to replicate or reproduce them using the mediums that we have. Usually it's through watercolor or gouache, colored pencil, various types of materials. We have access to amazing materials here. Actually, Mr. Ragone. Oh, yes. Okay. So can you go back? Yeah. So actually before that, I'm so sorry for this back and forth. All right. So this is just the first 3 photos at the top are just to give you a glance of what the classroom looks like. We jokingly call our rooms the sanctuary, the ashram, or the tree house, because we have an amazing view of the natural landscape and the campus behind our building or our room. So that in itself inspires the children and me and us. Actually, we just love walking into our space. We have an amazing space. Then we just wanted to show you the works beneath those 3 photos. Big shout outs to Mr. Risen, Mike Risen, principal, for coming up with this concept. But if you see the picture in the center below, that's a picture of the identity project from pre-kindergarten all the way to 2nd grade. And they're in these really cool frames that rotate. So what you're seeing in the front, you're seeing the front, but each picture can be rotated so that you can see what's behind. And just wanted to show you, give you a glimpse of what we do, what our identity project looks like. We teach the children about portraiture, proportions, how to mix colors so that you can achieve the complexion that matches your complexion. The next slide. All right, so this is just, again, a glimpse of our program. It's not everything, but it's just to show you the variety of projects. The ones up at the top go from left to right is from pre-K all the way to 1st grade. So the one, the pre-K, the first one, which has it's like a paper relief, looks like a roller coaster, sort of orangish, warm colors. This was again focus and emphasis on fine motor skills. So teaching the children how to use actual glue, how to properly manipulate the glue bottle and not squeeze tons of glue out, but squeeze an equal amount, and then also be able to manipulate the paper in their desired way to decorate the composition or compositional space. Then we move on to there's an abstract looking portrait. This is kindergarten. It's in the center at the top. This is where, again, fun, joy. This is a reoccurring theme in this school, but we try to approach our lessons with that idea. So we had the students, kindergarten, pre-K, all the way to fourth grade, create an abstract portrait of themselves. This is just to give them a little breather and teach them, just have them have fun. And they already know how to abstract because they draw in an abstract way, see the world in an abstract way. So we played a game called Roll a Picasso, where each child had to roll a dice, and the face of the die would correspond to, well, we had a handout that had the faces of the die that corresponded to each feature. So if you rolled a die and it landed on 6, then you could choose the head shape, eye shape, ears, nose, lips that corresponded to that graphic on the handout that matched the die face. So that was fun. Then we moved on to, we do collaborative works with first grade. Last year we did the 3 Little Pigs, as they mentioned earlier. And we had, so it's the pictures on the right, far right at the top, are just examples of the houses that the first graders created. So again, going back to sculpture, teaching them how to work and think in a 3-dimensional way, but being able to solve their problems or come up to creatively solve problems. So we have lessons or works that revolve or that revolve the seasons or culture or country. You see the clay pieces at the bottom. This is more 3rd grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade. We start off with a pinch pot, just a basic introduction to clay. And then from there, we have the students create whatever it is that they imagine. We like to give them creative freedom. That's what it's all about. We just want them to see, being able to recognize opportunities in life to be creative, because that's what we are, natural creatives. If we weren't creatives, we wouldn't have this world, and we wouldn't have the beautiful, fine things that this world provides us with, right? That we indulge in. So that's all. We just want to prepare the students for the future and just teach them how to enjoy life and how to create and just love creating and keep that flame growing. So feel free to join my section during the Q&A, and I would love for you to ask me questions. I would love for you to come into our classrooms too, just to get a sense of what our day looks like. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this open house.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. We are now going to go over to lower school PE with Chris Giles and Laini Bettencourt.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Giles. I am one of the 4 members of the wonderful PE team. This is my 11th year here at Norwood. And as you've heard from many people before us, the first thing that will strike you is the physical campus that we have here. So we're super lucky to have 3 gym spaces, and then of course our wonderful fields. We have a baseball field, we have a softball field. So we are absolutely spoiled for choice in terms of our teaching spaces. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our instructional philosophy. Obviously in PE, we want to provide a fun, safe environment where students are able to and feel comfortable making mistakes. One of our main goals in lower school is obviously to promote lifelong physical activity, but we also strongly emphasize individual skill attainment. We certainly encourage students to explore their individual skills in terms of lots of different manipulative skills, team games, group activities. We want to make sure that they challenge themselves. And our emphasis in lower school is obviously to create a non-competitive environment, or if there is some competitiveness, we want to make sure that there is a healthy approach to being competitive. Cooperative games and cooperative activities is a strong emphasis in lower school, and also problem solving and collaborative thinking. So I'm now going to turn it over to Laini Bettencourt.
Hello, everyone. My name is Laini Bettencourt, and this is my 6th year at this wonderful school and my 26th year teaching PE in the DC area. I'm just going to touch on our general curriculum. Our PE curriculum at Norwood focuses on activities that promote body awareness, physical fitness, fundamental athletic skills, and social development. Our units include activities in the following categories: locomotor skills, which develop coordination and balance; perceptual motor skills that develop body and space awareness; manipulative skills such as throwing, catching, kicking, and striking. Looking at the picture in the screen on the left, the students here are playing a game called If Pigs Could Fly, working on their underhand tossing skills. Rhythmic activities and creative movement, physical fitness, cooperative activities, as Chris mentioned, and also lead-up sports skills that prepare students for core sports such as basketball, soccer, lacrosse, softball, and various racket sports. Overall, as Matthew mentioned earlier, we want our students to experience joy while learning. We make sure our classes are fun and our students experience success no matter what their abilities are. At Norwood, we understand that each child develops at their own pace, especially physically, so we challenge our students appropriately. For example, one student might be proficient at kicking a stationary ball, while another might just be learning about the technique. We make sure each child is engaged by giving them appropriate challenges. We are lucky enough to teach our pre-K through 4 students 4 times a week. Our kindergarten actually students come 5 days a week. One of the things I love about being a PE teacher at Norwood is that I get to know almost every single student due to the fact that we see them so often and because I teach almost every grade. It's really wonderful to see them grow and develop over the years. I'm going to pass it back over to Chris, but feel free to join our breakout room if you have any further questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Laini. I just wanted to briefly touch on the social emotional learning that takes place in PE. Obviously, being a pre-K through 8th grade school, this is very important. So social emotional learning happens through self-management, personal responsibility, resiliency. We also have that yet mindset in PE. You see that a lot, especially with the younger grades. I can't do this. It's just, you can't do it yet. And seeing them being able to overcome those obstacles is fantastic. Of course, cooperation and teamwork is a strong emphasis. And then lastly, we have our self-win philosophy in elementary PE, and self-win stands for sportsmanship, effort, learning, and fun. So we want to make sure that each student can leave PE for that day or that week or in that unit saying that they have had a self-win. Certainly a strong, important part of our lower school PE. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Chris and Laini. We're going to head into our breakout rooms now, and I really appreciate all of your time here today on this Saturday, beautiful Saturday morning. I want to encourage you to visit us at Norwood and come on out to do a tour and a parent chat with us. Carson, Abby, and I are happy to help at any time. I just dropped a link to our breakout rooms. Our teachers should head over there now. And I want to say that you'll also have access to our learning services with Sarah Gallagher, as well as after school in the links to the lower school open house document. Thanks again for everyone for being here. I and Carson and Abby and I will be available for any questions you have, and our teachers will be on for the next 20 minutes to answer any questions you have individually. Again, thanks so much and have a great day.